Hi, welcome to the special broadcast of the Federal. We are coming to you from Kerala. This is a ground report. And here today we are focusing on what the youth expect from anyone who comes to power next. What do they think about the political narrative here in this election season? The kind of promises that both the parties, both the fronts, UDF, LDF, making it to the people, and more importantly, how do they see the performance of the last 5 years? What do they think about the larger narrative? What are their aspirations? Perhaps a lot has been said about the narrative, but this show will bring you the perspective from the younger lot here in Kerala on what do they expect. We are here at the Nilgiri College in Wayanad to focus on these aspects. We have a bunch of students. First up, Mr. Rashid is here. He's a management consultant, a popular speaker here. Mr. Rashid, we've seen the kind of promises made in the manifesto and the narrative and the focus in this election. On the surface, how do you see this?
Actually, this election, comparing to the previous time, what we can see that the people, whether it may be right or left or any other political fraternity, that we can see that the people are highly focused on these kind of welfare schemes, and these people are these manifestos are highlighting the welfare aspects and the public sentiments. So this will be the election where we are facing the battle of election with public welfare schemes more, and we are not that focusing about the futuristic dreams or aspirations or future development aspects, and all the parties are now talking about what they are providing on a daily basis, or something kind of a welfare plan, or it can be even ration bag, or it can be even any kind of pension or any other monthly payments. So I think in Kerala it's first time that one election is highlighting these kind of nominal benefits which is being given to the public, and that's become the decision making factor in a public election.
Well, that's another aspect that not many have spoken about, that this election is seeing a very gradual shift. Tamil Nadu was always known for populist schemes being announced in the manifesto, then being implemented by the parties, giving ration, giving various other government schemes, ensuring it reaches people. That was at the heart of an election campaign or a manifesto. Kerala was always about good social indicators, government hospitals, public health. It spoke about having a brighter future for Kerala. But we are seeing, as he rightly mentioned, a definitive shift in the promises being made. The government is talking about what it done to people. Great that the government went ahead and helped people during COVID, but what is being promised for the next 5 years and what's not being spoken about, that seems to be a worry.
Sure. And as you rightly mentioned, there is a drastic shift which has happened in the present day politics in Kerala, that unlike Tamil Nadu is very known for these kind of popular schemes, and which has been implemented successfully over the last few decades. But in Kerala, that we were far ahead in education, health, and other social indicators, and we were bringing some models, and we will be the first state which has enhanced the concept of decentralization, Kudumbashri, and many more. And the rest of the states are even modeling Kerala. But now I have seen that in this election, wherever we go, that, and even in the media, even in the election manifesto, and the people's representatives, the communications, and everywhere, that what they are narrating, they're not talking about the futuristic aspects or futuristic development plans on what after 5 years or what after 10 years, what Kerala will be hitting. And from this point of time, so because we were facing a struggling time due to this COVID, and before that by the flood, so we are in a verge of restructuring our state. But very sad to see that nobody is talking about the restructuring or redeveloping or inventing Kerala. But now we all are talking about how can we feed you, and how can we support you, or how can we help you on in finding your daily needs. But it's also required. But Tamil Nadu can dream it, because the financial situation and the financial stability of the state is truly high. But comparing to the Kerala with the larger deficit and liability, I don't think that how far these kind of popular schemes will be practical enough in Kerala. But it can create the sentiments, it can penetrate the sentiments of public in the election. That's what I feel.
It's a valid point. Can Kerala, a small state that's not heavily industrialized, can it fund this kind of a popular scheme? That's also on several people's mind. The other aspect is, has the government not spoken about some of the crucial issues? Have the parties not spoken about some of the crucial issues? We are in Wayanad here, and yes, Rahul Gandhi is the MP from here. That seems to be the focus point. But what are the other issues? You have man-animal conflict. That's a huge issue here in Wayanad and across several parts in Kerala. Nobody's talking about the higher healthcare, specialty healthcare that's lacking in Wayanad here.
Yes, sir, that is true. See, being people of Wayanad, it is very difficult for us when we need to go out to a bigger hospital. We don't have a proper medical facility here. That is a big thing. So the medical college was just named. The name of the hospital was changed. That's all. It is not yet constructed, or the infrastructure is not that too good. So it will be better to concentrate more on healthcare. And as you said, sir, man-animal conflict is a big thing. So when it comes to a larger perspective, when the budget is released or when statewide allocation is done, a large amount of spending is not kept aside for Wayanad when it comes to man-animal conflict. But you have a number of issues regarding that. So in few states, they have successfully implemented this railway bridges, using the parts of railway things and tracks to construct walls and such things to create a distance between man and animal. So it will be better to implement those things wherever it is necessary. So, and apart from that, there is a discussion going on as per the certain reports. Wayanad will soon become a bioreserve. In Nilgiris, we already have that issue that we in certain parts are already disclosed as bioreserve, where we have a lot of restrictions. For the people living there, can't sell their land, they have to paint their house green, a bulb cannot be lit up after a certain time. It is all a big difficulty. So sudden shift of a normal person to a person living in a bioreserve, when that shift happens, there should be certain measures taken to cover that as well. So I suggest there should be large amount of spending upon man-animal conflict issues as well.
Okay. Most of you are youngsters wanting a better employment or looking at a brighter future. Looking at the kind of promises being made in this manifesto and what the government has done over the last 5 years, how do you look at it? Does it give you confidence that you can build a bright future here in Kerala, or you'll have to look elsewhere? How do you see that?
Actually, nobody is saying about this employment issues. No, nobody is saying. So I wish somebody, at least some parties would say. And you know what? If the people, the ruling people they're being old. And what I say is, let youth come. Let youth come to power. And in the previous Panchayat election, many youth won, and I hope they will make better changes. And similarly, in this election too, some parties are appointed a few youth leaders to be part of the election. But still, a lot youth have to become, and they can make much changes than the others.
True.
So, at the case of employment too, we need much more because we are students who are passing out this year or next. So we need a lot of employment opportunities.
Okay. Not enough being spoken about the aspirations of the youngsters, whether it's the UDF or the LDF. You agree with that? That's a prevailing sentiment amongst the generation or amongst the first-time voters, people in their early 20s?
Yes, I do agree with that. And in Kerala, one of the main things that people value the most is a government job. So most of the students, you ask them, they will always have the goal of achieving a government job. And PSC is a good option. But the problem with PSC is that they're taking a long time to implement, and the call letter is coming so late. So if after you write an exam, you need to wait 5 or 6 years to get a job. So that's actually creating a negative impact on the youngsters, and we are really finding it very hard to get a government job. And once if you don't have a government job, there will be a situation in which you won't even get married.
Okay. He's saying it's not just a job, but his entire life is jeopardized by it. You spoke about young leaders making a difference, the ones who've got elected in the Panchayat election. What about Rahul Gandhi? He's represented Wayanad for a good 2 years. How do you look at his performance?
Rahul Gandhi, being a public figure, he had been influenced by much or celebrated. Wayanad celebrated his constituency here. But still, he should look up at the man-animal conflict, welfare systems should he have to work out in many other features being here. Then let the promises be aside, let the requirement of the people bring up, sort out there.
Okay, what you do matters, not just the promises. The other aspect that has to be spoken is there's so much focus on BJP making inroads in Kerala, right? They have a seat in Nemam. Now they want to increase it. They want to be fair. I mean, they want to ensure that they win more seats apart from Nemam as well, have a bigger strength in the assembly. You've had Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath coming, Mr. Modi campaigning, and we've had Sabrimala, that was an issue back then. How do you look at this whole issue of BJP trying to make inroads, ensure that they gain some ground here in Kerala? As a younger lot, does this resonate with you?
I think already the BJP senior leaders have already spoken about it, right? I think they don't have a base in Kerala. That's because already the people are educated. Whatever they are spreading in North India, like intolerance, religious sentiments, those things will not work in Kerala. So what Surendran or the BJP in Kerala, what they are trying to implement is to split between the minority issue. They are trying to create love jihad, which is not there. I think NIA have been doing the cases for few years, and still they have not find anything positive in that. Still they are bringing up these issues which will make the people to fight each other, or the religious sentiments or whatever it is there. They wanted to create an intolerance, and through that they want to focus on certain religious, especially Christian community. So they wanted to focus, they want to make sure that getting those minority votes which are representing majority of vote bank in Kerala, because we know that more than 30% or 35% is minorities in Kerala. So they wanted to split that, and they wanted to come into power. So they don't offer any development aspects, or whenever we are just checking out their manifestos, we don't see much more, but they are just promising people, and they are just misinterpreting these things.
Okay. Do you agree? Does the kind of promises being made by the BJP resonate with the youngsters or the larger population here?
I could remember an ad a couple of days back which I've seen. Two BJP candidates, I don't know, two of them were speaking about the developments happened all over the country. One person, his name was George, I guess, in the ad, and another one, his name was Mohammed. And when it comes to an ad, even they are implementing something on, I don't want to say that word. So these things...
Yeah, they're saying we take every community into... Yeah, okay.
So I couldn't say that, or we cannot agree with the same statement what they have made, because most of the people, those who are educated, basically youngsters, are neutral. They do voting for those person who is very much popular in their sides, and who is to do more for the community or to the region. And comparing to North India, South Indian system is a bit different. People are a bit more educated than, and universities which give better education does not promote this party-based education. So what they prefer is based on the developments of the region, or employment is a focused area here. And mostly this happens with youngsters here.
Okay, you're saying this might not resonate with the larger population. One aspect that we'll have to keep in mind is whether it's Tamil Nadu or Kerala, both states have a higher voter population that's consisted of women. Women are a huge chunk. In some cases, they're the majority chunk. More than 50% of them voters are women. So several women welfare schemes that have been announced by the government over the last 5 years, many of them implemented. How would you look at that? And what do you expect from anyone who comes to power next?
Okay, so talking about women in Wayanad or Kerala, it's like they have a broad opportunity than comparing to other states. So I'm basically from North India. So I have seen women, they don't have opportunity. They are illiterate, but here I have seen women being developed so much, and they have their own dreams and they can fulfill. There's broad ways to be into what they want to. They can explore the way they want to. So it's just like so much government is supporting women.
It's much more than other states, you're saying. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. The other aspect that I will have to ask you here is the pandemic, right? How much of it do you think was dealt very well by the government? Yes, the government went ahead giving out ration kits and ensuring nobody went hungry. Fantastic, and Kerala was credited with the fact that they were hit first by this pandemic and they managed it well. So how do you think the government did? And is there any expectation now that we are looking at a possible second wave?
The basic of government, the role of government is to make sure that their people are happy. So that's their responsibility. So I think now they are CPM, whatever they were giving, that's good. Whatever the rations they were giving is good. But that's the responsibility of the government to ensure that people are getting the rations. But they are now what Rashid sir was saying, they are just making whatever they have offered as the main campaigning, and they are saying we have given this much, UDF have not given that much. But basically we have to analyze that the responsibility of government is to make sure that these are the basic things they have to provide.
This is not your achievement.
Yes, that's what.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, one thing seems to be very clear from this chat that we've had with the youngsters here. One, they're saying, well, what you've done during COVID is great, but that's your responsibility, that's not your achievement. And stop talking about populist schemes. We are looking at much larger issues. Solve our issue with man-animal conflict here. Tell us where the jobs are. Ensure that industries come here, we get jobs. And also, as he rightly mentioned, government jobs are much sought after. Ensure that they happen on a very timely manner. And more importantly, as Mr. Rashid also pointed out, is that this could be a shift in how election works in Kerala, what parties promise to people, and how the entire government mechanism works after election in terms of prioritizing what those schemes are. In Wayanad, with camera person Madhu, Harish Upadhyaya for The Federal.